It's time for the Cover Price Top 10. This list, we're going back 2 years. All right, guys, this is the Cover Price Top 10. We're going to go back 2 years. The way these videos work, and I'm sure everybody watching this video has probably watched a previous one, but I'm going to give you the rundown. The way these lists work, the way these videos work, is we take the Cover Price Top 10 from 2 years ago. We talk about the books. What were they worth then? What are they worth now? What's the market doing? Were they a boost or were they a bust? Before we get into it and start with number 10, you know what to do. Hit the subscription button, hit the thumbs up if you enjoy this video. If you don't enjoy this video, just hit the thumbs up anyway because it helps me out and it doesn't take much. Also, leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this list. And if you guys buy, sell, do anything on eBay, which I'm sure a lot of you do, find me on eBay, VERYGARY_comics. Save me as a seller. I go on eBay live every single week, 8:30 Eastern on Tuesdays. All right, Tuesday evenings, 8:30 Eastern. I'm always on there. It's a lot of fun. eBay Live is a blast. So find me, save me as a seller. Make sure your notifications are on. That way you get notified not only when I post books to the store, because I have been posting stuff slowly but surely. I'm trying. But also when I go live. And with that, let's get into this list, and let's start out with number 10. This is Star Wars Darth Vader number 6. Good Lord, the hype surrounding Obi-Wan and the arrival of the Inquisitors was deafening. That led near mint raw copies to trend for $120, while CGC 9.8 copies topped out at around $625. But 2 years later, the landscape has changed dramatically. Back in 2022, rumors were swirling that Rupert Friend would portray the character in Obi-Wan. Well, the rumors were right, yet there were some confusion from fans later in the season. Some believed he had died, which would defer from his death in Rebels. Obi-Wan would go on to clarify he is very much alive. But that hasn't helped this book maintain its price, as Disney has drastically slowed down production on numerous series that would see his return. The drop in momentum has led this book to drop, currently trending at $28 for a near mint, $90 for CGC 9.8. This book is a bust, but I could see some of the life breathed into it if Disney starts knocking some series out of the park. There are some of the lowest prices seen on this book, so it might be best time to secure a copy. I always like to say first appearances in a CGC 9.8 for $100 are pretty good books. I feel like any relevant first appearance in a 9.8 for a modern, make that clear, for a very modern book, this one came out in 2017, for a modern, under $100 seems pretty fair, because you got to remember it costs about $40 with shipping and everything else to get these books graded in the first place. It's a lot easier to buy a 9.8 for under $100 than it is to take a shot at a $30 raw book to get it graded to hit a 9.8. Let's get to number 9. This is the Avengers number 53. 2 years ago, the excitement for Black Panther 2 was incredible, leading to Black Panther books going crazy. Marvel capitalized on the hype, revealing a new armor set for Black Panther, lovingly referred to as Red Panther. This enabled T'Challa to stand up to Dr. Doom. The community loved it, leading near mint raw copies trending at $35, while CGC copies were too new to have traded hands. However, they were trending at $135 the next month, but Marvel never really did anything else with it, and it was often deemed too bloody. The hype died down quickly after that, and now 2 years later, near mint raw copies are trending at $6, just over cover price, while 9.8 copies are at $25. It was a cool concept the community embraced, but lacked follow-up, which led to its downfall. It's unlikely Marvel will revisit the Red Panther, at least not consistently. That makes this book a bust and one to shy away from unless you're a fan of the character, but the price is currently trending for it's below case cost. It's a tough book to pass out. What do I mean by that? It's trending for less than what it would cost to grade the book. So if you really like this book for your PC, or you want a spec on it, I suppose, $25 to $35, CGC 9.8, first new costume, go for it, especially if you're a Black Panther fan. To me, that's an easy purchase. Let's get to number 8. This is New Avengers Illuminati number 1. The Super Bowl has a habit of delivering the hype. 2 years ago, it was the Multiverse of Madness. This year, it's Deadpool 3. This year, my God, Deadpool 3 dominated the headlines and theory discussions, all because of the signs the Illuminati could be joining the MCU that led to Illuminati-centric books trending up, with this book hitting $35 for a near mint raw copy, CGC 9.8 copies trending at $100. The Illuminati did appear, and it amounted to very little overall. Multiverse of Madness is generally considered an underwhelming entry, but the fans got some excellent fan service. That doesn't maintain momentum, however. 2 years later, we see the effects of that loss. Near mint raw copies trend at $3, with the last sale being $1. 9.8 copies are hardly moving, with the last sale being in November of last year for $29. Without a first appearance or a major event to drive this book forward, it's a bust. It might be worth picking up a copy for $1. But much more of this book is a big ask. Don't spend more than like $3. It's unlikely to heat up as it did years ago. And again, overall, it is one to steer clear of. Multiverse of Madness is like the missed opportunity of the MCU for Phase 4. Let's get, don't a couple bucks is fine. Don't overdo it on that book. Where are we going now? Number 7. This is Secret Avengers number 19. Marvel was pumping out content 2 years ago with many projects on the horizon. One of them was Moon Knight. With big-name actor Oscar Isaac attached, fans were eager for the series. Had an image released by Empire magazine kicked up a frenzy. It showed Mark Spector in his Mr. Knight costume, and fans loved it. This book marked the debut of said costume, but not the persona. So fans excitedly picked up copies, causing it to trend at $40 near mint raw, while a whopping $300 for CGC 9.8 were sold. 2 years later, Moon Knight has come and gone. It was liked but not beloved, but the biggest issue is how non-committal Marvel is regarding the character. There is no confirmed season 2, although the series left the door open for one. Even Oscar Isaac has come out and said he wants to play the character again. But with Marvel on their heels, fans are growing non-committal themselves, as they just don't know where Marvel's going to go. Now near mint raw copies trend for around $14. 9.8 copies have plummeted to $70. Without significant attention on that iteration of Moon Knight in the future, it likely won't recover to its previous highs. It's a bust for both raw and graded, and will likely remain so, as there are numerous other key issues for fans to divert their attention. Guys, we're going back 2 years into the heart of the spec, and the MCU is just kind of taken off post-COVID. We talked a lot about this last night live on Pressable Defects. It's a really great show. We were on, me and Maddie Forge and Lowe. We were talking for about an hour to an hour and a half about different topics, but a lot of Marvel conversation came up with the Bob Iger, Kevin Feige kind of going at it. So after you watch this video, or you could stop watching and go check that one out, we did a lot of talking, but it seems like there's a lot of inner turmoil going on with Disney right now, which is a good thing because we all know what kind of junk they've been putting out the last couple of years. Let's get to number 6. This is Black Panther number 3. This is from 2022. When Tosin debuted, fans were all over this book. It came out of the gate hot, much like Ultimate Black Panther number 1 has. That led to a hot aftermarket where near mint raw copies were trending for $47 all day, and 9.8 copies routinely went for around $200. Fans were primed and ready to support the character and watch him grow. But like with many other characters, the follow-up didn't live up to the hype. He slowly faded from the conversation, and not much has been heard of since. A surprising turn, as fans thought Tosin would be a juggernaut for years to come. With a better snapshot of how this book played out, it may guide those who are having the same conversation surrounding the new Ultimate runs. Now prices are trending at $20. 9.8 copies are down to $81. This book is a bust, but there are some encouraging aspects to look at. It maintained 200-ish price tag for a CGC for months after the release. Near mint raw copies surpassing its highs that it achieved in February of 2022. As late as November of that year, fans wanted more Tosin, and there was a high probability we will get just that. Prices for this book are solid and a great point of entry for those who like the character and were turned off by the high prices. It might be a solid pickup guide. People do love Tosin, and with prices kind of coming down the way they are, it's a fair price. Let's get to number 5. This is Star Wars Darth Vader number 20. This is the Chris Sprouse Lucasfilm 50th anniversary. The Mandalorian is a sensation. Fans love Din Djarin, Mando, and of course Grogu, Baby Yoda. This book features the first cover appearance of both in comics and dropped shortly after the fan base got Mandalorian Season 2. 5 2.5 in Book of Boba Fett with Mando love in full swing. Near mint copies were trending at $35 while it was too early for CGC 98 copies to hit the market. With a fourth season of The Mandalorian in doubt, the hype has cooled slightly, but not much. 2 years later, near mint raw copies have been trending for around $18. 98's clocking around $50. While this book could be viewed as a bust, it falls more in line with being steady. Prices have been pretty consistent for 2 years, which is saying something in this industry. It's a great book to grab for those who love the character and a nice memento as we draw closer to the inevitable end of their tale. With prices being as steady as they are, now is a great time to pick up a copy if you're inclined, as the likelihood they will go up is strong if they get any clarification of what exactly is happening with their tale and when. I loved Mandalorian. I mean, the last season was the weakest, and Boba Fett was really boring until Mando showed up. So I'm sure most of you guys have watched it. If not, you should. The Mandalorian season 1 and 2 are crazy good. Let's get to number 4. This is Spectacular Spider-Man number 244. Speculation can go both ways, and this is one of those instances. 2 years ago, we had some fresh casting announcements for the upcoming Kraven movie. At the time, the theory was that Russell Crowe would play Sergei Kravnov, the first Kraven. Aaron Taylor Johnson being the lead role led some to speculate he would be playing Alexei, the son of Sergei, who would inherit the mantle of Kraven. That caused this book to trend at $35 for near mint raw copies, while no CGC 9.8s traded hands. 2 years later, we have clarification that Jay will be playing Sergei in the film. That led fans back to the original first appearances of Kraven instead of this book. Near mint raw copies have barely moved in the past year. It's become all but forgotten and is a bust. However, it's still a cheap key that would warrant increased interest way down the road. A lot would have to go right, but it's completely out. It's not completely out of the realm of possibility. I don't know if you could hear my daughter just yelling. She probably wants cheese or something. There she goes. Let's get to number 3. This is Amazing Spider-Man number 88. This book makes the first appearance of the Queen Goblin, a.k.a. Madeline Pryor. Fans instantly took a liking, leading to a brisk sales on the aftermarket. Near mint raw copies quickly shot to $21 while it was too early for a CGC 9.8 copy to have hit the market. Now Marvel used this character in later stories, helping garner a following. God. That's helped this book maintain some value, as near mint raw copies currently trend around $8 and 9/8 last selling for about $95 in the mid 2022. This book is a bust. It's still prevalent enough to find in the wild and solid price, but it's not currently worth the investment to have it slabbed. Buy it slabbed. It's a neat book with future potential as Marvel's funneling resources into X-Men properties, of which she is a very major character. If there's a deal to be had, it's worth being grabbed. We're going to get to number 2. Before we do, guys, I want to remind everybody, give Covrprice a try. Covrprice.com. There is a discount code down below in the description. There's a lot of discount codes in the description, but hit up that Covrprice one. Try it out. It's a wonderful tool for all collectors. Let's get to number 2. This is New Avengers number 7. Back in 2022, all eyes were on the Multiverse of Madness, with the Illuminati heavily theorized to make an appearance post-Super Bowl thanks to the velvety voice of Sir Patrick Stewart. 2 years ago, this book was trending at $100 near mint raw copy, with CGC 9/8s trending at $500 and topping out around $600. This book sports the group's first appearance, but 2 years later, we know it's not the same lineup we saw in the movie. Oh, and they were brutally murdered by the Scarlet Witch. That caused this book to sour as they fulfilled their purpose in the MCU, at least for the foreseeable future. Now near mint raw copies trend for $15, while 9.8s have dropped to $50. This book is a bust and likely one to steer clear of unless there is a good deal. It's a long shot that we will get the group in any capacity, as they are more of a multiversal entity. Marvel is moving away from that style, as most of the multiversal properties of late have been underwhelming. The greatest hope for this team is to appear again far down the line when we get Secret Wars, but there's no guarantee. And if they're going to do it, they need to do it right, with the right people in the Illuminati. They need to stop all this crap they're putting out. Let's get to number 1. This is the Avengers number 53. This is from 2022 now. Red Panther was the hot character of the week 2 years ago. With so much hype surrounding this iteration of T'Challa, fans went bonkers in the aftermarket trying to secure a copy. That led to it trending at $25 for near mint raw copies, with it being too early to have CGC 9.8s floating around. However, It hit a high of $89 in June of 2022 when the hype had already started dying. 2 years later, and all the hype for the character has faded, with raw copies currently trending at $2, with the last sale of a 9.8 coming in May of 2023 for a whopping $31. Both prices are below the cover and case costs, making this book a bust. It was a long shot that the book would hold value, but now is an excellent time to secure copies for the cheap. The Red Panther is an interesting character with a cool subset of abilities. There's a ton to draw from that Marvel could revisit down the line. It's hard not to acquire a copy on principle for the prices it's currently going for. This book is super, super, super cheap with a really cool character. It's worth taking a stab, absolutely, especially for the right price. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Remember, covrprice.com. Check out the discount code. And as always, keep it comics.